hope you guys are having a great day. I think I'll be publishing this on the day before New Year's Eve, I think. New Year's Eve? Yeah, New Year's Eve. So hopefully you guys have some fun plans for New Year's, or if you're just staying in, that's always fun too. We always go to my parents' house to celebrate New Year's, so the three of us always hang out there. It's a really low key, not very exciting, just laid back New Year's. We're not really into all that partying and everything like that, so we just like to hang out with my parents on New Year's, and then me and my daughter spend the night, and then my husband usually ends up going home because he has to take care of the dogs and stuff. So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys have for your New Year's plans? Do you have anything exciting or fun? Or if you're watching this video after New Year's, what do you guys do for New Year's? It'd be interesting to find out. I probably will not document my New Year's in this album. I think I'm only going to be doing a couple pages after the 25th. I'm not quite sure yet. We went to a play on the 26th, so I definitely want to document that. But after that, I don't really think we did a whole lot of anything too exciting, so I think I'm going to stop right around there. I won't go to the end of the year. What do you guys do? Do you guys normally go to the end of the year on this album, or do you stop at the 25th? Let me know that in the comments below too. I'd love to hear what you guys are planning to do. So anyway, that what I just did was pretty self-explanatory, but I just took a vintage photo, or no, sorry, a vintage Christmas card that I got from the antique store, and I mounted two photos on the inside of that. And now I'm working on the journaling. The journaling was a lot longer than I had anticipated, so I'm going to put it on its own 4x6 card. I'm taking this music wrapping paper and I'm going to back the 4x6 card that I cut out of the Bella Boulevard paper. And the journaling's a little bit bigger. I didn't plan very well. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be mounting a couple different layers on this so that it makes it big enough to hold the card, and then also sturdy enough that everything sits nicely. So I'm just taking the wrapping paper, adding some glue stick, and then using some of this tissue paper that I got in a gift over Christmas Eve, and I thought it worked really well, and I like the little crinkly effect. It's not a very clean look on the background, which I think is pretty cool. Gives it some texture. Just trim that out, and I'm adding some distress ink so I can age the edges, and I think that looks perfectly fine the way it is. It was a little hard, it got a little rough edges just because it was not sitting very flat, but I think it looks fine. So I'm just using my 3-in-1 glue. I'm going to smash this down and use my bone folder to kind of spread the glue around so it lays nice and flat. And again, this glue does not wrinkle the pages, so it works perfectly for this, and I like how nice and flat it lays. So I'm just inking around the card here. I'm going to glue this card the same way I just did with the journaling to the front side of the music paper. And then now I have a nice little card that I'm going to marry with the vintage Christmas card in the photos. So I am going to struggle a little bit with this. I wanted to put it on the next page here, as you see, and that paper was really sturdy, but I just couldn't figure out how I wanted it to work. So I wanted to use this envelope, and it just wasn't working on that page. So I'm kind of flipping through, seeing what I want to do, and I'm going to come back to that. But I do want to embellish this page I was working on earlier. So this is another one of the little Bindi Etsy doilies that I picked up. It is from Christmas Pack 1, and I'm just inking around the edges. I just put it on copy paper, so I do need to mount it onto some cardstock to make it a little more stiff, because I'm going to make this into a pocket. And I just showed you that vintage postcard, that Christmas postcard. I wanted to slip that behind here, and I didn't want it to be stuck to the page, so I'm just going to make a pocket out of this. So I'm just going to glue that down, cut all around it, and then I will glue that directly to the page. And this is something nice to do if you don't really have something to do for that day, or you're using a junk journal like this where my pages are fixed and you can't move pages around. This is a good way to kind of use up some of the other pages without necessarily putting photos or something down. So if you have little things you acquired over the Christmas holiday, and you want to add it in, it doesn't necessarily have a photo or something to go with it, but you really like it, this is a good way to get those things in your album. So there you go. You can see I just slipped that postcard there, and I think it worked really well. Now I'm going to go back to this vintage, or sorry, the 4x6 card, and I wanted to add the date number, and this is number 12. I just used some glue dots and some twine. So the glue dots holds that metal piece in really well, and then the twine I just made a little bow. And now I'm still trying to figure out where I want to put this. I'm not happy putting it there. So then I end up settling on this music sheet here. So I'm just going to glue the flappy part down with some 3-in-1 beacon glue, and then I'm going to paper clip the journaling card to the envelope. So I think that worked out pretty well. So I'll just flip that over the edge here, glue that down, make sure it's really nice and smooth. Again, this is really good glue because this paper is pretty thin and it did not wrinkle at all, so it was perfect. Tucking that card in, clipping on the journaling card, and then I thought this was a little plain here. So what I'm going to end up doing is adding another one of those doilies that I got from Little Bindies on Etsy, and I'm just going to embellish this side of the page as well, keeping it pretty simple. Again, I don't feel like you need to do a whole lot of detail on some of these, and sometimes simple is best. So I'm just going to glue this down, ink around it, and then that is pretty much going to be it for this. I will trim off some excess that I have here, but I just like how that looks. I didn't want to cover up all that music paper either. I really wanted to be able to see a lot of it. So I think this is a good compromise where you do glue something down, but you're not really covering up the image. I know a lot of people, when they do junk journals, or they want to do junk journals, they have problems covering up some of these images. So I think this is a good alternative where I was able to put something down but not cover it all the way. Also, the card on the other side, you can flip it up, so I'm not really covering anything on the other side of the page. So I really like how that looked. I think that turned out well. And then I'm also, you can see those book pages, I'm not covering them up at all. I wanted to keep those the way they were. I didn't want to cover up the images, so I didn't. I have enough pages in this album that I can skip a few and it works out well. This is day number 13. This is a really quick day. We went shopping and I'm just documenting us in the store. I am going to make a little ruffle with this tissue paper, sew down the middle with a zigzag stitch, and then I'm going to add that to the top right of the photo just to give some place for that date number to sit and be anchored. So you can see here, I'm just going to glue that down, and then I thought the number looked a little, I don't know, plain. I decided to punch another circle out of green cardstock just to back it. I thought it popped it up off the page a bit more, and then I used this little tiny attacher staple that I colored yellow to make it look gold, and then I glued everything down. So pretty simple. I do have journaling for this card, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, and I end up deciding on a little pocket. And I'm going to add my journaling on to a 3x4 card that's going to go in behind this 4x6 photo. So I'm just trimming it down, making sure everything fits. I'm going to end up mounting that paper onto another card here in a second. I'm going to go through my printed images. First, sorry, I'm going to make a tab that's going to go on this. I was thinking, I don't know if I needed to necessarily add anything to the back of this, but it was just a little too flimsy, so I did the tab first thinking that I might just use the paper with the journaling on it by itself, but I decided I need something a little more sturdy. So here are some Hip Kit cards, and then I ended up going with the KB and Friends printable here. I really liked this image. It reminds me of when I was a kid and we had those big, huge lights, and I thought it would work well. Just used some lined paper that I had in my stash to mount it. It was a little bit too small, so I wanted to mount it, or I'm sorry, the card, the journaling was a little too big, so I wanted to mount it so that both the journaling card and the 3x4 card had a little border around it. So I just used my vintage photo distressed ink and inked around that lined paper. It's a little hard to see the lined paper from this angle from the video, but it's just some notebook paper that I had sitting around and I thought it would work pretty well. So I'm just closing that little tabby thing up. That tab is a Stampin' Up! Whale Punch that you can no longer get from Stampin' Up!, but I have heard that you can pick it up maybe from Etsy, or sorry, eBay. And I'm gluing it down the little journaling card here, or the 3x4 card. And just sticking that down, trying to make it as even as possible. And then there is that journaling card. I really like how that turned out. Again, I really like that image. KB and Friends on Etsy, they have some great stuff. I think I got 3 or 4 different packs of printables, and I really liked how those turned out. So here you can see how it's just going to slip in. I'll use my 3-in-1 glue to add glue around 3 of the sides, and then that page is pretty much done. Like I said, super simple. If you had any questions about anything, leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you ever want to know when I have a video posted, just click on the bell and it will give you a notification that a new video is up. That is pretty much it. Just going to glue down this little thing that says Christmas shopping and I am done. So like I said, guys, have a very good day and hope you have a happy new year, and hopefully I'll be back soon with another video. Bye bye.